YouTube can throttle us.
They can suppress us.
But they can't stop a text message.
Funding frozen. Operations in limbo. The courts have spoken. The battle lines are drawn. The standoff.
Well, Democrats are literally shutting down the Department of Homeland Security over ICE funding. A federal appeals court just handed Trump the biggest deportation victory yet. The D.C. Circuit ruled that the IRS can now share tax data directly with ICE and DHS to speed up deportations. Democrats are blocking border security funding while the courts are fast-tracking Trump's deportation machine, and it's backfiring spectacularly. Now, this changes everything about how deportations work in America. If you're here illegally and you've actually filed taxes using a fake social security number or an ITIN, that information can now be shared directly with ICE. No more bureaucratic delays, no more interagency red tape. Your tax records become deportation evidence, and socially this creates a very chilling effect where illegal immigrants may stop filing taxes entirely, which ironically makes them easier to identify. And politically, Democrats are in an impossible position. They're shutting down Homeland Security while Trump racks up legal victories. They make deportation faster and even more efficient. And if you haven't done so yet, text raw feed to 844-840-4963 so you can be on our exclusive insider list. But first, we have to talk about something that is happening behind the scenes that connects directly to this DHS shutdown. Some breaking news tonight. While Wall Street fixates on gold and silver and other headline commodities, there is a strategic metal quietly driving defense policy, military procurement, and geopolitical planning behind the scenes. It's not flashy, and most investors never even talk about it. I'm talking about titanium. That's what governments and defense contractors are stockpiling aggressively. When Congress fights over DHS funding, they're really fighting over contracts worth billions of dollars that depend on this critical resource, and smart investors are positioning right now before the mainstream catches on. This metal powers everything from border surveillance systems to military communications. So while Democrats play shutdown games, defense spending just keeps flowing to companies that control this supply chain. And the writing's on the wall for anyone who is paying attention. That's why SAGA Metals is helping Americans understand these defense sector opportunities before they hit the headlines. So make sure you take a look at the full briefing that's been prepared just for you. And we thank SAGA Metals for supporting this show. Now here's what's really happening. Speaker Johnson just called this the third government shutdown in 100 days. 3 shutdowns. Democrats are so desperate to protect illegal immigrant voters that they're willing to shut down the very agency responsible for deporting them. Meanwhile, Trump's legal team is winning case after case, building an unstoppable deportation infrastructure. The optics could not be worse for the Democrats. Now, the press secretary discussing the nor'easter with respect to FEMA.
Working with state and local authorities, and they will continue. The Trump administration is on it. We know that FEMA is out on the ground working with state and local authorities, and they will continue to do so. Although it's very unfortunate, FEMA continues to be defunded right now because of Democrat politicians here in Congress. So if you're an American hurting and suffering from this storm, we suggest that you call your Democrat congressmen and women and senators and encourage them to reopen the Department of Homeland Security so that these great FEMA workers who are helping you turn your lights back on can get the paychecks that they deserve. But nevertheless, this important work will continue and will continue to be there for Americans who need help as the conditions get better.
This FEMA complaint is just the tip of the iceberg. DHS shutdowns hitting multiple agencies as we speak. The Department of Homeland Security reversed its decision to suspend TSA PreCheck during the partial government shutdown. Global entry remains suspended, according to CBS News, as the shutdown enters its second week.
For a lot of confusion this weekend, TSA PreCheck is open. DHS says global entry, that's expedited customs back into the U.S., will be suspended because of the government shutdown. Now, a lot of confusion about what happened. So let's just break this down real quick. On Saturday night, DHS came out and said it was going to suspend TSA PreCheck and global entry due to the government shutdown. There was a lot of pushback. That announcement came as a complete surprise to the aviation industry. Sunday, DHS reversed course, said TSA PreCheck would remain open for now, and any staffing shortages because of the shutdown would be addressed on a case-by-case basis. Sources told CBS News Global Entry would also reopen, and we understand that it did at some airports, but now DHS is saying definitively Global Entry, which is that expedited customs experience for pre-vetted flyers, will be suspended. What does that mean if you're on an international flight coming back into the U.S.? It means the likelihood the lines to clear customs will be longer for everyone. There is a mobile passport app you can download for your phone that may save you some time, but expect some delays at customs while this partial government shutdown continues. There does not appear to be an imminent compromise on Capitol Hill to fund DHS, which means the TSA workers, those customs officers at the airports, they're not sure when their next full paycheck will be. They should get a partial paycheck this week, and then after that, it's a waiting game until Congress makes a deal.
From weather disasters to airport security, watch how Republicans are now weaponizing TSA workers' paychecks in the standoff. Democrat members are getting paid, but they're withholding TSA workers' paychecks. Democrats in Congress have chosen not to fund DHS, which means that all of our TSA workers who show up today are not getting paid. Secretary Noem.
Hi everybody, Kristi Noem. I'm here at the Reagan International Airport, and I'm just dropping off my husband, who's headed back to South Dakota. But I wanted to talk to all of you about these TSA workers who are here today, not getting paid, but making sure that people can fly safely. Democrats in Congress have chosen not to fund the Department of Homeland Security, which means everybody here at our airports that works for TSA is not getting paid, but they're still showing up to work. It's been pretty hard on them financially. We're going to talk to a few of them about what this happens to their families, how they can't pay their bills when they still have to show up to work and they don't have money in their paychecks coming to pay their bills. So we'll chat with them. But if you see a TSO, an officer that's working security in an airport today, thank them. Thank them for putting your safety first and making sure that you can get home safely to your family.
Secretary Noem at Reagan Airport, the front line of the standoff. Speaker Johnson about to dial up the rhetoric even harder.
And I hope everybody will remember that tonight, even as we stand in the midst of yet another painful and unnecessary Democrat shutdown of the government. I mean, it's almost unbelievable to us. Not one, not two, but now 3 government shutdowns in just the last 100 days. What in the world are they thinking? This time they've taken hostage, as you know, the Department of Homeland Security. The department that is literally in its name, it's very indicative of its duties. It keeps Americans safe. And so funding for the agencies that protect our borders and mitigate disasters and help keep all of us able to walk down the streets without fear. That's the agency they've chosen to hold hostage. Well before the funding deadline, Republicans, as you know, worked in good faith to pass a year-long, full-year funding for DHS, and we did that through a bipartisan committee process. Democrats in both the House and the Senate negotiated on that. And now Democrats in both chambers have reneged on that bipartisan deal. Just 1 week into this, the consequences of Democrat shutdown are already painfully clear. Look at FEMA. Their operations are really important right now. If they haven't noticed, we have an historic season of winter storms slamming the East Coast, even as we speak in the northern parts. TSA is having to make difficult resource decisions, as you've seen, and agents working another week without pay. Some of those are high-stress positions. It's not right. It's not fair. The Secret Service, as you know, is charged among its other duties of protecting the president. And yet another armed attempt was made on his life just this weekend. This is not a game. I don't need to remind anybody. 2026 is an historic year for our country, and it'll be a great year of celebration. It'll be part of the big golden era, the 250th celebration, our birthday. But you're going to have, during the year, tens of millions of guests. We're hosting the FIFA World Cup in 11 cities around America. We have festivals and tournaments and so many highly attended, high-profile events around the country. Obviously, we need the protection of a fully funded Department of Homeland Security. We shouldn't even have to say that. This gambit that Democrats are involved in is as foolish as it is dangerous. They cannot hold up that critical funding any longer. There is planning that's required for these events. There's all sorts of logistics involved and personnel as well. And it's time for Democrats to do their job before they risk the literal lives of the American people any further.
They're playing a very dangerous game. Johnson's accusation is setting up a classic D.C. blame game, but here's what's actually happening on the ground. Republicans have accused Democrats of endangering public safety by withholding funding. Neither side looks likely to budge, but unlike last year's record 43-day shutdown, the standoff so far has led to little public outcry. So while politicians trade barbs, Trump scored a massive legal victory. It changes everything. D.C. Appeals Court sides with Trump, rules the IRS can share information on illegals with the Department of Homeland Security for deportations. This opens up a ton of new doors for DHS to speed up DHS deportations. Now, here is the White House. The State of the Union is strong because the border is the most secure in the history of our nation. Sleep well, America, because we're keeping America safe.
500,000 illegal immigrants leaving the U.S. over the past year, nearly 600,000 arrests, over 600,000 deportations, nearly 2 million voluntary self-deportations, and get this, 8 months of zero releases at the border.
President Trump's border policies are serving as a deterrent at the U.S. southern border as illegal crossings have hit another record low.
It is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline.
ICE says they can finally do their jobs.
This is truly an extraordinary turnaround at the U.S.-Mexico border.
Because President Trump is sitting in the Oval Office, every American put their head on the pillow tonight, knowing that Border Patrol's on that border, stopping all threats coming across. Most secure border in the history of this nation. ICE agents and FBI agents are working 24/7, 365, every hour of every day, taking public safety threats and national security threats off our streets. Sleep well, America, because we're keeping America safe. If you think we're doing good now, you just wait till this coming year.
I remember when they put those signs up at the White House like that. I was there that morning. It was quite a dramatic visual. And if you haven't done so yet, text raw feed to 844-840-4963 so you can get on our exclusive insiders list to get notified when we go live. Don't wait for YouTube to send you notifications. We've set up an entire system just for you so you don't miss anything. Continuing right along, Minnesota GOP lawmaker calling Democrats insurrectionists for blocking ICE. Democrats tried shutting down debate. He kept going.
Come to our state, it's an invasion, it's an occupation. People are being kidnapped, not detained, not arrested, kidnapped. Rhetoric like that, and the stance that your party has taken from top to bottom, from Governor Walz all the way down, that there is no legitimacy to federal authority is nothing less than insurrectionist rhetoric. And that is why, take your moment. Take your moment. I got mine. Take your moment to digest that. Look it up. The number of lawyers that are laughing at me right now. Do you understand how the supremacy clause works? Do you understand what insurrection is? It's the undermining of federal authority. January 6th, thank you so much for bringing that up. You guys went on and on and on about that for what, 4 years? Yeah, it's still celebrated as a holiday on your side of the aisle. One riot on one day. It's an attack on democracy. You ran an entire election on it. For months and weeks on end, we have had the top law enforcement officer in this state, the governor in this state, the mayor of Minneapolis, and many of you actively undermine federal authority when it comes to immigration law. And acting upon that rhetoric, people like Renee Good and people like Alex Preddy put themselves in harm's way. They did what you
Point of order, Madam Speaker. Point of order. Point of order. Personality is not allowed in debate. We are not going to allow you. We are not going to allow you to impugn community members who have been murdered by the federal government. How dare you? That is shameful.
The rhetoric is escalating beyond politics. Local sheriffs are joining the attack with serious criminal allegations. Robert Milby, sheriff for Wayne County, New York, blasts Democrats who attack ICE and CBP.
And whenever I hear somebody talk negatively about border security, what I hear is somebody who's actually supporting sex trafficking, child exploitation, drug trafficking. There's so much more to the picture than is being touted out there. And I appreciate all the efforts that the president has put into the support of the northern border.
These criminal accusations are building towards Trump's biggest deportation win from the courts. Massive win. U.S. court rules in favor of President Trump and Secretary Bessent's IRS sharing data with DHS and ICE to speed up deportations. Let's go. Another victory. Nothing will slow us down. U.S. State Court of Appeals, United States Court of Appeals, President Trump scoring a massive legal victory, creating new flashpoints. And Miranda Devine says, Mika Brzezinski is such a terrible and ignorant person. Here's an exchange with the border czar, Tom Homan.
I see on the show this morning you have Governor Healy talking about ICE doing enforcement operations at a church. False. Didn't happen.
They were parked there. They did not do an operation there. She said they were parked in a public space legally.
But to say that and to push that out there puts fear in the immigrant community. So let me tell you what's happening.
That puts fear in the community. To park the ICE agent's vehicle
they're on a
near
public
a church.
Street.
They are on a public street. She said
they're on a public street
sir.
waiting to respond to a criminal alien release pulled aside the road. Let me tell you, in the last couple of days, what's happened in Boston. They've arrested Victor Gomez Perez, the 33-year-old criminal alien from Guatemala, with charges of aggravated rape, assault and battery with dangerous weapon, indecent assault and battery on a victim 14 years or younger. They arrested Kaylee Espinosa, a 33-year-old criminal alien from Colombia, with charges of aggravated assault on a pregnant victim. They arrested Joshua Gonzalez, a 23-year-old criminal alien from Dominican Republic, with charges for trafficking heroin, morphine, opium, resisting police, disorderly conduct, and drug distribution. They also arrested Samuel Armando Barrero, a 20-year-old criminal illegal alien from Guatemala, pending charges for assault and battery on a child. So Mayor Wu and Governor Healy, they ought to be calling ICE and thanking them for making their streets safer, for protecting their communities and taking these people off the street. They've turned a blind eye to this. They're sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities and sanctuary states are sanctuaries for criminals. Give ICE access to the jail to arrest a bad guy in the jail rather than have to go in the community to find them. Because when you go in the community and find them, it puts ICE officers at greater risk. It puts the community at greater risk. It puts the alien at greater risk because anything can happen on a street risk. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to prioritize public safety threats. When you got governors and mayors who are releasing these public safety threats every day into the community, that causes the crime rate, and we've seen some terrible incidents in the last few days where innocent victims are murdered. This past year, I've seen innocent Americans raped and murdered by people who are not supposed to.
It just goes on. And of course, Mika Brzezinski getting called out to her face. Tom Homan directly confronting the media narrative, setting up potential credibility battles ahead. I see you on the show this morning. You have Governor Healy talking about ICE doing enforcement operations at a church. False. Did not happen. The beautiful irony is unmistakable. Democrats shut down DHS to block ICE funding, thinking they're protecting illegal immigrant voters. But while DHS is shut down, the courts are handing Trump unprecedented tools to find and deport people faster than ever before. Tax records, employment data, financial information, it's all fair game now. Democrats just played themselves. You see, this is what winning looks like. While Democrats throw tantrums and shut down the government, Trump's agenda continues to move forward through the courts, through executive action, and through sheer political momentum. They can't stop what's coming. Every shutdown makes them look more desperate and out of touch. Every court victory makes Trump look inevitable. The American people see exactly what's happening here. Democrats care more about protecting illegal immigrants than protecting American citizens. Is this the hill Democrats really want to die on? You let me know. Check out the Next News merch shop for gear that shows you stand with America first, not America last.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.